So I'm a coach, author and trainer. I wrote a book called Rocking Your Role, which is a guide to success for women who are the main earner in their home. And prior to that, I was a leadership coach, and so I provide leadership development one-to-one and in organisation. So it's really interesting how I came across the term female breadwinners. I was just reading an article by a lady called Rebecca Messenbeck, and she talked about what it means to be a female breadwinner. And she's based in Australia. It was a very small article, but as soon as I read it, it sort of hit me that I was one. I hadn't really realised before that was my life situation. My husband, who'd been an accountant, decided to leave that role and work with disaffected young people who are excluded from school, who have been in trouble. And of course his salary decreased because it's great work and it's very passionate and it makes a difference, but it doesn't necessarily bring lots of money in. And at the same time, I, who had been employed, decided to start my own business, my leadership coaching and leadership development. So what happened was my salary went up, his salary went down. We never spoke about it. We just carried on, as you do in couples. You just carry on. We just carried on as normal. And on paper, it should be no problem. But I realised by reading that article that there were things that I had done wrong, really, and maybe not having conversations about money, also having a bit of an ego, walking around, I'm earning all the money, I can make all the decisions, and even little things like when you go into a restaurant and the waiter gives you the bill and the woman's paying, they always give the bill to the man. What do? Do you slip the credit card under the table? Do you make a joke that you're paying today? And after reading the article, I realised that those were some of the things that were happening in my relationship. And I thought, is it just me and Rebecca in the world who are the breadwinners? And it was a little bit like when you buy a new car. Suddenly you see that car everywhere, and that happened for me. Suddenly I saw female breadwinners everywhere. And I thought, we're not talking about it, and we need to, actually, because when a woman is the main earner, it seems to be a bit of a taboo subject, something that women either feel shame or resentment or guilt about. And I didn't want it to be the case. I really want us to be proud and craft the life we want. So for me, that's why I embarked on my research around female breadwinners, for women who, when they earn more than their partner, to be able to feel proud, to be able to share their situation and get any support they need in life. And in terms of society, I think lots of things do need to change in terms of supporting female breadwinners. I think what often happens is there are a lot of assumptions around the man being the breadwinner in work and at home. And so in the workplace, what happens is that they assume that a woman's coming to work just, it's not serious, that the career doesn't matter as much, that it doesn't matter if they don't reach the top, that sometimes they're not even as committed because maybe they want part-time or they want flexibility. So if you want that, you can't be as committed. Workplaces often have meetings at times that are not convenient for women who have children, first thing in the morning or late in the evening, when a woman is trying to balance their work and home life. But just because you might not want to attend a morning meeting or an evening meeting doesn't mean you don't want to go further in your career. Just because you may want to work from home one day a week so you can actually pick up your child from school doesn't mean you're not as serious about your career. And in home, women still do the lion's share of housework. They still have the lion's share of caring responsibilities. Some of this is our fault. Some of it is that we notice the housework needs doing more. Some of it is we don't want to delegate. We don't want to give it to someone else because we want to clean before the cleaner comes. And other times it's just actually we haven't thought it through. We're trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, and the perfect career woman. It's not really possible. Something has to give, and we need to decide how to craft the life we want. So society definitely needs to help us. And one of my big bugbears is schools. I don't know what the schools are like in Brussels, but in the UK, still everything's very short notice. They expect the mum to be at home and be able to stop at, go to a recital, go to an event during the day, be available. they still ring the mum if the child's sick, never think that it could be both parents. And I think schools need to move forward with how they think about families. You know, family is not a women's issue, it's a parent's issue. And I think we need to move forward. So that's how I think society needs to change. I think a lot can change, and not always for the best. I think that the thing we have to try and avoid is for a man to feel emasculated because the wife is the breadwinner. And I think there's a lot of challenges around that, because some men would be really happy to be at home and be the stay-at-home dad. Some men are very happy for their wife to go forward in their career because the wife is more ambitious than them, but they don't want other people to look down on them. They don't want to be teased by colleagues and others around them. And so that's the challenge. It's that society may not be happy about how they behave, and sometimes it's the closest people to you. You know, it could be your own mother or father who tell you how you should be going forward in the world, or that's what they did, so that's what you should do. I had a radio interview a while ago, and the man Tony Parsons, he's quite a famous author in the UK, said, "My dad worked for years very unhappily to bring money in for my family." That's what all men should do. If they have to be unhappy, that's it. It doesn't matter. Whereas I think we're moving to a place where if you're an artist, if you're a musician, or if you believe that you are better nurturing the family in the home as a man, you can do that. And if your partner is happier going out in the world and working and going forward in their career, you can do that. So I think we're moving to a place of more choices, but it has to be accepted, and society has to help that be the case. Additionally, in the relationship, money is something that couples must talk about. There was a study in the UK with the Prudential, and they said 17% of couples over 40 have never, ever spoken about money. And that conversation needs to be had. And it doesn't mean that you're having a conversation which means that, oh, because I'm earning the money, I must manage it. It means that we decide how we do things together. It might be that the man is better at managing money, even though he's not bringing most of it in. Let him manage it. It might be that you have it all in one pot and you say it's our money, it's not yours, it's not mine. Or you might have separate accounts. But you need to start to have those conversations, because otherwise it does derail relationships. Most definitely, yeah, because actually they've done some studies about what couples argue about most. Money, family, and the household chores. They bring up emotion, and people get angry. There's so much emotion attached to them and involved in them, and so people just don't bother talking about it, because if you think it's going to end in an argument, you steer away from it, but actually you need to deal with it. And in my book Rocking Your Role, I have a framework to start that conversation that helps you distance it from being about me and you, just being about how do we think about money, you know, as a couple, and then moving forward from there.